Welcome. I am Dr. Rebecca Eldridge, and I wanted to respond to a really thoughtful question that I received recently about the George Floyd statues. The question, in essence and context, was how can we be putting up these statues of George Floyd, celebrating him when he had been tried and convicted of various crimes, including those that very well may have been harmful, emotionally, physically harmful, or traumatizing to people. What does that mean? How are we choosing that as a person to honor and celebrate? So I'm going to share my thoughts with you about that because I think it's a really good question that really represents the complexity of these issues. So, in part, I believe that the George Floyd statues are because of what he represents to the movement and to the communities of being able to say, this life matters, all of our lives matter. It's not okay for one of these lives to be taken, not through a process. This wasn't part of a process or legal justice system. As fair or unfair as you might perceive that to be, this was with a knee on the neck. And so that represents something which also connects to a broad question, a question specifically that is embedded in this is, in this society, at what point is somebody who has made terrible decisions considered forgiven or redeemed? At what point do we feel like somebody's done their time? And at what point do we consider them a whole person again? A person who deserves to be honored for their life. I have watched many of the superhero series. And in some of the Avengers movies, I'm not going to be able to say which ones, there's an interchange between the Black Widow character and the Hawkeye character, where one or the other of them affirms to each other, I don't judge people by their worst mistakes. At what point do we as a society decide we're not going to judge this person by their worst mistakes? That they lived a life or served their time, or that we can see some of ourselves in them, that we've made bad decisions too. I'll share that I have a personal connection to this question because I have a loved one who is serving time, who did make terrible decisions, whose decisions I can only imagine did lead to the harm of other people. And this is somebody that I love and that I've known their whole lives, and that I see as a whole person, even now. But I wonder, how will they be judged? How will they be viewed? What will be their experience after they've served their time and been released? Because we know that in this country, we have not paved a path to redemption. We have not created a rehabilitative system that allows people to be accountable for their decisions and learn and grow, and then support them re-entering as valued, productive members of our society. We don't honor as a society the resilience, the perseverance, the odds that people have to overcome even after doing their time. we don't put them on equal footing. In fact, in many states, we have laws intentionally to keep them from having equal footing or equal say. This goes beyond just the George Floyd statue. This is clearly about our broader legal justice system and how we value human lives. And even though it's broader, I believe it's really relevant to this particular question, to the question of, does George Floyd, did he live a life deserving of being honored? I don't know the details of George Floyd's life. Just be completely transparent about that. I know the publicized versions, somewhat. None of what I know, though, deserved the experience of having the life choked out of him. And that's what I think the statues really represent, is how are we treating people? How are we judging who's worthy or not worthy? Whose life is okay to take or not okay to take? Whose life are we fighting for or fighting against? Or taking a neutral stance on?